accounts receivable setup. In order for accounts receivable to be active and configured for a database, you must first activate and establish bank and tax services. Then you can set up accounts receivable. After completing this topic, you will be able to set up and configure accounts receivable and set up customers. In the global setup of accounts receivable, some things are required and others are optional, and some depend on the use of accounts receivable. For example, account sets and interest profiles are required, but the use of salespeople or items is strictly optional. Options is where you identify the basic structure of how the module will function. Account sets determine the GL accounts you plan to use. Interest profiles define the calculation method of finance charges. Billing cycles determine the number of days between statements and also determine the remit to location printed on a statement to a customer. Payment codes identify the method of payment by a customer, and terms codes calculate the due date of a customer's invoice. Optionally, you can choose to enter distribution codes, which aid in data entry, or items which allow a detailed invoice to be entered, including quantity and extended pricing information. Salespersons may be utilized to identify those responsible for a sale, and sets of dunning messages can be defined to allow default messages to be included on accounts receivable statements and other correspondence to customers. Email messages are created for various correspondence to customers, and finally you determine when and how transactions are sent to General Ledger. Let's take a look at the global setup of accounts receivable.